I love this movie.
No,
Can you,
that's the Bruce.
can you guys
It's a
hear
heck of
me?
a movie, man. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it like since I think I watched it in
I haven't seen it since
VHS
it
back
came out.
Same
I
here.
saw it on the theater in the theater when it came out. This is actually one of like the first 4 movies I ever saw in the theater.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Oh my God.
I was
Big
8
dust
when
here.
this I was 8 when
Yeah.
this came out, and we didn't go to a lot of movies because we were super poor.
Mhm.
So this is one of the first movies I saw in the theater. And then I watched it on VHS very shortly after it came out on VHS. And that's the last time I watched it. And I've always had it in my mind as being this like really awesome movie. And I was right. This movie is fucking awesome.
It's great.
You know,
Again, what the thing
I
about putting it
said
aside?
that
Go ahead, Jim.
I couldn't remember anything about it. I mean, I
Well, it's
remember the
good.
helmet, the
Mhm.
shtick with the helmet. That was
Uh-huh.
about it.
Oh, I
Mhm.
remember all of the like the Errol Flynn fucking Robin Hood shit. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I even remember that the guy gets stabbed when he's like not supposed, when they're doing the fake fight and stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
I'm amazed how much of this I
You were like an 8-year-old. I
Yeah.
had just bought
Oh,
my
there you go.
house.
He was
when
as old-
Right.
it came out.
He was as old as I was when I saw 2001.
Ah, there you go.
Wow.
No, ditto.
The Rocketeer's better.
Anyway.
Oh,
So, but again, I saw it in the
Well.
theater, and I was pretty impressed because I was impressed by everything back then. And I watched it now, with a nice high def transfer, and this film is very handsome. It's nice set pieces in there, and it just
It looks expensive. I mean,
It's
the
expensive,
the
but it is
South
expensive.
Seas the South Seas restaurant. There's scene after scene and with different sets, and it's pretty impressive.
a
Yeah.
real try for authenticity. They got like those old airfields with the eucalyptus growing out there, and it looked really something like old photographs from the 30s. They did a really
Yeah,
nice job.
why is their old
They shot
30s
part of
so
the
much
movie.
more convincing than the 30s from Captain America, which is
Well, that's the 40s first of
Oh,
all.
is it, there's a reason.
38. It's World War II era. Don't
Well, no, it's 43.
pigeonhole me,
No,
man.
I'm talking about Captain America is the 40s, and
Because
this is
America's in the
This
war.
is 1938. It's World War II era. There's
There's a reason
Nazis in both. Come on.
Actually, real briefly, the reason Captain America looks different is actually filmed in England. But moving on.
Yeah.
Mm.
and a lot of it on green screen.
Yeah.
Oh, you think?
This
So
this
is this.
Yeah.
No, less of this than you think. Like there's a lot of practical sets in
I
this
have a
movie.
Cinefex that I almost brought out because,
Oh.
yeah,
What's
because
yeah.
this was a lot.
The special effects are charmingly clunky. Sheila said it looks like a Disney movie, which it is.
Yeah.
Um,
It is. It
but, I mean,
Absolutely it is.
for the era that it came from, it's kind of like I thought of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or Flubber.
Oh,
or
it's so
something.
much better than that.
Yeah,
It's so much better.
Yeah,
than
but the
that.
flying scenes are not super convincing. They're not as good
No.
as Superman, which came out in like what 84, 86? When did that come
This
out?
is like the
Yeah,
last days of like
Superman was
analog
86.
ILM. Back when they're doing like staying in front of a blue screen and flying around on wires and doing
And pulling mats and all the stuff for the old school way.
motion
Well, a
controls.
lot of the time it was
Yeah.
a 12-inch model,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I mean,
there's no-
literally, there you can see that there's no pilots in the planes during the air
Yeah.
race.
Yeah, right.
Like those are just models.
Right.
Like,
and there's nothing computer generated at all about this film. It's all just.
No.
It's all.
there's
computer
wire
models.
there's wire removal. There is
Yeah,
wire
exactly.
removal
Yeah.
in this,
That was it.
which is what Hudson Hawk was the first movie to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
and
that's
Terminator
the
2,
very
that's another story
beginning.
entirely. But
Great
Oh, and
movie.
they also
Love
used
Hudson
the
Hawk.
motion blur. Which
hey,
was
whatever
really
happened to the lead?
Right.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? Billy.
So that was like animated stuff
He's
that
got a
they
great
added
TV
motion blur
career.
to, Jim.
Oh,
Some of the Rocket Man flying
Yeah,
scenes
yeah.
were stop motion.
The wire work is fun. Like my favorite sequence is the South Seas thing where he's flying around inside the restaurant and stuff.
yeah.
That's
How do I
kind of
land this thing?
what's that?
Like how do I land this thing?
Yeah.
It's so fun because it really does feel like it's out of control, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
probably was kind of to some
Well, the
extent.
physics are kind of real because he's on a wire and he's bouncing all over the set, right?
Exactly.
Oh, well, can't see it, but I love this Rondo Hatton.
That
Oh,
was-
Big giant. Oh my
Tiny-
god,
Tiny-
That was great.
that
Tiny
was
Jim.
wonderful. And there's stuff like that all over,
Tiny-
like the
Tiny Jim.
What?
Tiny Jim.
Oh, Tiny
No,
Jim. That's the guy. I thought you were
Tiny
talking.
Tiny
Ron.
Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the guy who played him. Yeah, and he wasn't
Tiny-
tiny, obviously.
There's
He's
Tiny
a
Jim.
wrestler, right?
No, he was just an actor. He's just a big dude.
Yeah.
He's in Deep Space Nine a bunch as Grand Nagus Zek's like body man.
Oh, I remember.
Oh, he
Oh
is.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Tim without makeup. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also in the scene where the guy says big gopher. He's the other guy who's standing there who doesn't say big gopher.
Mhm.
Which I think is fun.
You know,
Um
the artwork behind Chris.
I was amazed looking up Rondo. He was actually a journalist.
Yeah.
He just had acromegalia.
It was a kind of a tragic story, really. He was dead by
Yeah,
1945, you know. No, that poster behind Chris, that's the Rocketeer pre-release.
Mhm.
I got 2 of those, and they're numbered too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just rolled up somewhere in the house.
So, I told you guys I was going to bring props, but this is my OG copy of The Empire Strikes Back sketchbook by Joe
Okay.
Johnston, Milo Rodas Gennaro.
Great.
And I don't have my Star Wars one anymore, but I did have it, and I've got, you know, like I've got ILM. I had like an entire library of every fucking issue of Cinefex. Like I've been following this effects shit for years, and I was really like, when I heard that Johnston had made the transition to directing, I was like, well, that should be interesting because like his artwork is phenomenal.
Mhm.
And Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
cute. I took my sister to see it when she was little. She really liked it. But I remember finding out that they were going to make this, and you know, our mutual friend Chip Chase was a big fan of the Dave Stevens comic.
Oh, who wouldn't be?
And I feel like they did such a good job bringing not only the aesthetic of the comic to the film version, but I in this and in the unofficial remake Captain America, which we'll talk about later, there's just something about, like, I'm not a rah-rah America guy, but there's just something about the tone of these movies that is so sincere and earnest and without cynicism. Like there's no winking at the camera in this movie. Like everybody
it's not.
in it fucking means it, and they're telling a pretty basic story, I thought, really well, and they filled it with like every great character actor that I can remember from the era.
I know. It was
Yeah.
I just Paul, as soon as Paul Sorvino shows up, it's just like, fuck yeah, Paul Sorvino's here.
Right off the Goodfellas.
Well, and the guy,
And you do that over and over when you watch the movie.
It's like,
Right.
oh yeah. There's Terry.
Well, and at the end when he's like,
Terry
oh, you're a
O'Quinn.
fucking Nazi, then
Yeah.
they just when him and the FBI agent,
They
and
look
they
at each
just
other
have
like
that.
we're on the same team.
They look
They're
at each other.
both shooting
Yeah.
together, and then they look at each other. Great gag. Great gag.
It's
So
great gag.
good.
And
which
Jennifer Connelly
they
is
redid
so
it in Deep
fucking
Space
beautiful
Nine.
in it.
He was gorgeous. No,
Oh,
but
yeah.
mind you, if you're a Dave Stevens comic fan, just kind of ashamed it was Disney, so you're not going to get the Betty Page version.
You're not going to get Betty Page. We got
Yeah.
that Jennifer Connelly. Yes, I think
Betty
that,
Page also said that she didn't want them to use her name in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't seen this in a while. I actually bought the Blu-ray like years ago, and I'd never watched it until Scott picked it. So it was a good excuse to watch it again. And I hadn't seen it in quite some time. Like it was even better than I remembered it. I remember liking it. I remember being a little disappointed that I think it was supposed to be a tentpole, and it just whiffed it. I don't remember what else came out in '91, but whatever, you know, it just did not get the.
It was
attention.
mildly successful. It
Yeah,
wasn't,
it did
wasn't-
okay at the box
Okay,
office.
yeah.
It just
Not enough to
wasn't.
make me-
It made its
I
money
actually
back, and that's
It
about
wasn't
it.
a Disney movie. It was just a movie.
Well, and I think the lead is actually really,
It
really.
did better than
No,
Black Hole.
Tad mentioned that. What's he doing these days?
he does a lot of TV.
It's on TV,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of TV.
but
He's a really
and
good TV actor.
He's a
too.
handsome devil, I have to admit.
I have very few. I mean, I think what's his name? The Bond is the villain.
Timothy Dalton.
He's Bond. I
Dalton.
mean, he's probably the weakest link.
Oh, I think he's great.
Snidely Whiplash.
I think
Yeah.
he's great. I love the line. I love the line. I do my own stunts.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Fucking just.
Oh,
That's,
I'm glad you said that because I wanted to point something out that occurred to me. I like this movie. This is one of those ones where I rewatched it years after seeing it in the theater, and I ended up like upping my opinion of it because at the time I was kind of like, man, that was okay. And I think it's the first half of the movie that gave me that feeling. And here I could really tell watching it now with like, you know, a little more experience that this story, the script gets better like halfway through. Like the dialogue gets better. Lines like Tad just brought up. It's like the 1-2 kind of lines.
Well, the stakes start coming into play.
well, and also
Yeah.
the more Jennifer Connelly's in the movie, the better it gets.
Mhm.
Like,
But there's a big problem
It's
to
extremely
me. Like
good.
there's an early scene where it's supposed to show their relationship and they have that bad date and it's just a dumb scene. It doesn't work. It's just
Right.
like he
Because
talks
she's
about
barely-
crashing the plane and she talks about her acting audition and they don't connect and it's I don't know.
The
It was like
30s movie.
It
If
takes
you
a while
watch
to
it
get
in
going.
Black and white, you'd love it.
that
Yeah.
kind of stuff takes a
Also-
while to get set up. Yeah.
I just want to point out this is the actual the plane that they made for the movie.
Oh, that's a prop
It-
plane.
Yeah, this
It's
is
a
the
GB
actual
Racer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one that they made for the movie is in the Museum of Flight here in Seattle,
Does,
and I
it,
took
does it fly or is it a prop?
Yeah, no, it's a real. They remade the plane, and it actually works.
That's cool.
And
That's
then
kinda
after the movie, they donated it to the Museum of Flight, and it's right here in
Oh,
the.
that's neat.
And I took this picture of it years ago when I went to the Museum of Flight for the first
That's
time,
cool.
and I was like, "Oh shit, that's the plane from fucking the Rocketeer."
Nice.
Not knowing
I
it
had
was
a
an
lot of fun with
actual
it.
prop.
It's goofy as hell, but I mean, you just got to embrace the goofiness and,
Yeah,
and
well, you know.
have a good time.
It's those
It's a
cartoon Nazis, man. I'm
different
telling you.
way that the second movie is.
It's a
goofy or
PG
is it
rated.
Yeah.
It's a PG rated Disney movie.
Yeah, it's their
Like,
interpretation of the Dave Stevens comic, and they did a really nice job. You know, it's actually.
and a lot of people die in it for a PG movie.
I know it's a
Yeah.
lot of shit gets blown up, and the cars.
But
go
most
off
of them
constantly.
die off camera.
And they
Yeah,
wipe
but
out
when
the-
that one guy falls into the propeller of the plane,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty fucking
Also, you
grim.
find out what happened to the land in Hollywood Land.
Yes. Love that.
that.
It's not that they tore it down because it was going to shit, and somebody was like, "Well, let's try to have a thing." It was
yeah,
'cause
exactly.
By the way, we're talking about all the great character actors that pop up in this movie. I had to go look her up. That's why I was late. I was trying to figure out who she was. Nada Despotovich is Irma, who's like
Yeah.
one of the other girls that lives where Jennifer Connelly lives.
Oh, really? Would you recommend?
She's got a couple of lines.
Is she the one who answers the phone?
Yes, and she's the one in that great scene from Moonstruck in the basement of the bakery when Nicolas Cage is yelling at Cher, and then he goes, "Get me the big knife," and she's the girl that says, "I tell you, I won't do it."
The girl who's singing at the club, the nightclub.
Yes.
She's in like the first, I don't even know how many seasons of the American remake of The
She's
Office.
Jan from The Office, Melora Hardin.
You're
And
kidding.
then what's her name from Justified, who was like the equivalent of a mob boss in Justified. She's working the restaurant at the beginning.
Is her name
Many character actors.
William
May?
Sanderson's in it. He's the guy from the old Newhart show.
Yeah. And Blade Runner, J.F.
that too.
Sebastian.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good stuff. They could afford it. This
And
was
what's his name from
Terry O'Quinn.
Not Terry O'Quinn. The guy who plays the owner of the airfield,
Oh yeah,
who's in everything.
Oh,
Who's in-
Alan Arkin.
We all
No,
never
not
forgot to mention
Alan
Alan
Arkin.
Arkin.
John Polito.
Oh no, John
John
Polito.
Polito.
John Polito, who's in everything.
He's in everything.
No,
Yes.
John, I
Well,
love
he's
John
in
Polito.
every
Oh,
Coen
Alan
Brothers
Arkin.
movie.
Yes.
Every Coen Brothers movie.
Seen
It's
Alan
funny, do
Arkin.
you think that Arkin's in this film to make up the fact he wasn't? It's a mad world because it like now he does this crazy airplane movie. You can put
I
in his
know.
belt. Well, anyway,
I know, but he looks good with hair.
he does. He does.
I was thinking,
Probably
no,
a teenager in Mad World.
he's pretty handsome in this.
Yeah,
He's one of those characters also that you figure isn't going to make it out of the movie, and then you're like, "Oh, he does.
does.
Oh, that's nice."
Yeah.
Like,
You mean like Stanley Tucci?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Totally
you
for
know Stanley Tucci's not going to make it out of the movie. You've got the Jewish scientist who fled from the Nazis. That man is not going to survive.
March
That's-
for death.
Hold on, we're popping ahead here. So, do you want to?
little bit.
Bucky's dead. Bucky's dead, and fucking
Anything else
Stanley
on this one?
Tucci's dead.
I just
Well,
gotta make a
Jared
note. I
hasn't
gotta
said a
cut all this
fucking
stuff
word.
out. So,
Oh,
anything
well.
else?
Fucking thing.
Jared's having some audio issues apparently.
Yeah,
We
can you hear me?
him just
I don't know.
I
fine.
hear you
yeah,
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anything, Jared? You've been
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quiet.
Jared's been pretty quiet.
Part
This is
Jared
not my-
Buck-
I don't know. My microphone's not working, so this is just the computer.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
We can hear you fine.
We can hear you. Felt good now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this movie's fine.
Okay, well there it is.
All right.
Wait, did you watch it with your kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kid liked it more than me.
That's good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's
How
what
old?
it's all
How
about.
old's your
I'm
son?
glad your kid's normal.
Well, I think I was. See, this came out in like what was it, 91?
91, yeah.
I wasn't young enough, and I was a little bit too old. Like I was right.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I was probably like.
Yeah,
well,
this.
I just it wasn't like I was already watching like Scarface, even though I was too young for that. So like I thought this was like I was like, this is kiddie shit. I don't want to watch this. I didn't even see it.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Uh,
All right.
Although
This is around the time I saw RoboCop the first time.
You know what came out in 91? Silence of the Lambs and Terminator 2.
And
Yeah.
Cape Fear.
I was watching that shit, and I was way
so-
too young to watch that shit, to be honest.
I was still in
This-
theaters when this came out, so I saw
but
this for
like-
free.
I was so impressed with the cast in this movie.
Yeah.
I love every fucking actor in this movie. I was like, oh, they're in it. They're in it. Oh my god. Oh my god. And that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a very just paint by numbers thing. I felt like it's very Spielberg, but like with a different kind of, it's just very competent. There's nothing wrong with it, but
I
it's
don't feel like
like
it hits you over the head the way a lot of lesser
No,
Spielberg stuff does.
it does. It does. This is a paint by numbers, fucking.
Well, the weird vibe in this is that it felt like one of the last of the old Hollywood films, because not just because it was set in the 30s, but it was just they packed it full of stars. It was all just very kind of calculated in a good way. You know what I mean?
But you guys were saying like it's not winking at you, and I don't know.
No, it's sincere. It's a very sincere film.
I don't know if the acting is winking at you. No, but I think the style of movie that it is it's a little bit.
Yeah, it's very retro.
They're very.
It's trying to do something. I will say that I like the aesthetic. I mean, I love his outfit. I love the design of that. Mm-hmm. But I had my one initial question right out of the gate was, why does his ass not burn off?
You gotta let that
like
shit
there's
go.
no fucking way.
Fair question. I thought about that more than a few times watching
this would never
Sheila said it more than once while we were
have
watching.
to have Teflon pants, dude.
Yeah.
Teflon pants
never work.
No,
I'm sorry, it was the 1930s. His pants were absolutely made out of asbestos.
And that's why when you see an actual jetpack, the outlets are like way the fuck out of here.
These guys' arms, they're in like the edge of
and also,
arms.
mind you, the thing was ran on alcohol, which does not burn too hot.
No.
Doesn't set them on fire.
That's actually in the script.
It's actually in the script. But
let's not forget the other thing I just couldn't get around. I'm sorry, but I just can't get around that a stick or a chewed up piece of gum is the reason this whole thing works.
You mean the Dick Six gum enough?
Or is it great?
Stupid.
Or is it great?
Stupid. He puts the gum on the plane at the beginning. Homeboy takes it off. He puts it on the pack. And then when he gets the bad guy, he takes it off. It blows up. I mean, it's just
so
dumb.
Beecher's gum is legitimately a fucking thing that pilots use as a good luck. Like that like the fact that the reason they focus on it when he throws it on the desk and then when
but they chew it as good luck. They don't put it on their equipment.
They do put it on their equipment.
Maybe they do.
There's a Beeman's joke in fucking Right Stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Huh? Yeah, Beeman says yes.
I'm gonna start chewing it.
This is like a movie for kids. It's fine.
It's a Disney film. It's a live action Disney film. Yeah.
I will say this is it's one of the hottest Jennifer Connelly movies ever. Like
I'll second that. Well, I second only to career opportunities, which was actually like pretty weird.
I don't think there's a not hot.
I appreciate.
There's a not hot Jennifer Connelly movie, but this is like this is like 11 out of 10 Jennifer Connelly hots.
I'll second that.
This is also, and we'll get into this later.
11 Connellys.
Prototypical. There was an audience.
Connelly scale.
It was a much smaller audience than Marvel, but there was an audience of people.
She's up there.
People who are going to see this because they loved the Rocketeer already.
The Rocketeer graphic novels.
Right.
So
my father, one of the reasons we went and saw this in the theater is because my father read the comics.
Well, I didn't know this was a comic book. I love his jacket and his helmet.
Chris is getting
he looks cool.
Back before they started making comic book movies by the dozens.
Yeah.
There's a shot where he lands on top of it's the Griffith Observatory, I think, and the American flag is fluttering behind him, and he's holding the Luger, and he's got the helmet on and everything.
Yeah, that's
it's like
posing for his cover.
That is the comic book cover. Like that is it.
Also, that's not.
I'm not trying to be
C96.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not a misogynist. The lead actor in this is one of the hottest men ever.
He is. Oh my god, good guy, right? Come on.
Chiseled features.
He's so his hair.
Disney did not want to hire him for this. They had to fight tooth and nail to get him to be in it because he wasn't a big star.
He's cut and chiseled to be this character.
And they literally did not want to hire him.
He is like American boy, Mr.
Got the floppy hair.
Yeah. If they made Captain America, then he probably would have been Captain America.
Perfect.
Yes,
he's perfect.
No,
if they had been casting Captain America right after this,
we're gonna get there later. But I like him a whole lot fucking more than I like Chris Evans. I'll tell you that.
All right. Well, anyway, on his high note, I guess we're gonna go to the cards. What do you think?
Did Jim get his say? He's
Jim,
been pretty
did
quiet.
you?
I did,
He
yeah.
did.
All right.
It's good to have
It's a
Jim
comic
back.
book movie. What can I say?
I was hoping Jim would come back and then boycott these movies just to spite the selection.
Would that be like redundant?
just-
Would it be kind of like the going?
No,
like,
it'd be hilarious.
I'm
It'd
here
be
to tell you all
hilarious.
they all suck. I'm not leaving.
Just wait. My two picks are the antidote to these two.
Oh, look out.
Oh,
I'm gonna give
yes.
that 2 thumbs up.
Okay. All right. Thumbs.
Big thumbs
Come
up.
on, man. This is a good
All
movie.
I love this movie.
It's
I
like
really-
this.
It's great. It's great.
Better than I remembered.
Yeah, same here. It was actually very pleasant to watch it again.
Exactly how I remembered.